ओ ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य म आणिस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माम् अवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यत् साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम्। तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः। इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा जिह्वे पिबस्वामृतमेतदेव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. I wish all the listeners of this podcast a very, very happy Ganesh Chaturthi. And the Ganesh Ji's festival is going on now. I'm sure all of you must be enjoying and having a blissful time with Ganapati Bappa Moria. So we'll move into the verse number 7, where we left the last session. So I'll read the verse and then Bhagwan Shankaracharya's commentary, and then we'll continue with the meaning of this verse from where we left in the last session. So verse number 7 of chapter 3. यस्त्वेन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते। यस्त्वेन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते। भगवान शंकराचार्य जी's भाष्य on this particular verse. यह तु पुनः कर्मणि अधिकृतः अज्ञः बुद्धीन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्य आरभते अर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः वाक्यपाण्यादिभिः किम आरभते इति आह कर्मयोगम असक्तस्सन् सविशिष्यते इतरस्मात् मिथ्याचारात्। Supreme Consciousness Bhagwan Krishna, continuing in this series of verses, answering the question of Arjun, which is a directional question. Bhagwan, I am little bit get caught up with what you have taught me in the chapter 2. So I want you to give me a clear direction and clear instruction as to what do you exactly want me to do. I'm little bit caught up in what all you told me. You gave me a whole plethora of things to be done. So I want a direct advice. As an answer to that question, Supreme Consciousness Bhagwan Krishna started to expound upon the topic of Karma Yoga, which Bhagwan has touched and elaborated and also praised in the last chapter, chapter 2, when Bhagwan spoke about the two paths. Bhagwan did praise Karma Yoga. Bhagwan is saying normal karma is not going to lead you anywhere unless and until you fall back into the bracket or you train yourself to continue to do Karma Yoga, which is going to put you onto the evolutionary path on your vertical growth. Remember where I left in the podcast earlier episodes, and I elaborately spoke about the horizontal growth and vertical growth. Here Bhagwan is saying, when we are doing horizontal growth means when we are doing actions according to our professional qualifications and all, whatever professional work we do in the world or whatever work we do in the world, which actually is supposed to give us horizontal growth, we can do that work in such a way that it can also become a contributory thing towards my vertical growth also. And that is the technique of action, and that technique of action Bhagwan has named it as Karma Yoga. In the last chapter he explained about yogastha kuru karmani samatvam yoga uchyate. In this chapter, or in this particular verse, the verse number 7, Bhagwan has clearly used the term called karma yoga for the first time. Actually the topic is not new here. Remember that it's not that a new topic Bhagwan is giving here, because Bhagwan is using this word karma yoga for the first time, even though he has elaborated upon this same topic. And I told you in the verse number 47 in the last chapter, 47 and 48, Bhagwan has spoken about that, where Bhagwan said yogastha kuru karmani samatvam yoga uchyate. In those verses Bhagwan did touch about. In 48 Bhagwan spoke about yogastha kuru karmani is samatvam yoga uchyate. These things Bhagwan spoke about. So it's not that Bhagwan is just starting a new topic here. No, it's not that at all. It's the same topic which is taken up from there, but Bhagwan is coining a new term here, and for the first time Bhagwan is using this term himself called Karma Yogam. So there, we have understood in the last chapter that Bhagwan is talking about karma yoga, but here Bhagwan himself has named that chapter. So Bhagwan says, if you do understand this technique of doing action, so while achieving or walking or gaining the horizontal growth, you can also gain in progress on the vertical path also. It's just that you have to change the technique. See, in this world, you will see so many people are doing action. It's not that all of us are sitting idle or anything like that. Many people are doing good action also, but the difference is some are doing only action and rare few are actually doing that action in a much more beautiful way, which is what Bhagavan is terming here as karma yoga. So we saw in the last session the literal meaning of this particular verse, and I also left you at a thinking point of what Puja Gurudev said, how to improve our mind. I'm going to come and touch that topic now when I elaborate upon this particular verse. So Supreme Consciousness Bhagavan Krishna says, Supreme Consciousness Bhagavan Krishna says, the control over senses is not supposed to be done or cannot be done by the senses themselves. Control over the senses is supposed to be done by the mind. We cannot think or we cannot assume or it's not possible for us to control our senses using the senses themselves. Senses themselves cannot exercise control on themselves, right? So for exercising control over the senses, who is supposed to be the leader to exercise the control over the senses? So I can use it in this way. In corporate setup, you will see above employees there may be a team leader, and then above that there will be a manager. It's like a hierarchy we call about, right? So employees are not left on their own to control and do everything on their own. So there is a leader, team leader. In some companies it's team leader, some companies it's directly manager. So you can use the terminology, but I'm only trying to explain you using the corporate ladder. So you will see there will be a team leader or a manager who will be managing a set of employees. So if I for now coin the set of employees as our senses, okay, senses are actually our employees. We have to employ them, by the way. Why we are using the term as employees? We have to employ them. And when I'm using the word employ, I'm using it correctly, and there is a reason I'm saying this. We have to employ, I said. They are not employed on their own. There is a difference. We need to understand. We have to employ them. Manager have to give them, or team leader has to give them the work and explain them, train them, and all those things. If we leave them on their own, then we may not be able to achieve the goal of the department. So, in the same way, senses are our employees. What are they supposed to do? They are the employees whom we have to employ for transacting with the worldly objects, people, situation, and relation. So we cannot leave them alone. We have to guide them. We have to give them direction. So who is supposed to give them the direction? That's mind. Now, for example, you just think for a moment that there are a set of employees. Maybe there are 10 employees, because there are 10 senses I'm talking about here. 5 organs of knowledge, or 5 senses of knowledge, and 5 organs of action, which is organs of knowledge are Jnanendriya, and 5 Jnanendriya and 5 Karmendriya, organs of action. So there are 10 employees and there is a mind. Now use the BMI chart. All of you refer to that BMI chart when I explain these things, okay? So now you see that there is a team leader or a manager called Mana or mind, which is which is supposed to lead these 10 employees. But just think for a moment, that manager is lost in his own personal life, or is already lost completely in his own personal things and own personal objectives and all those things, and has no focus on his employees at all. And all the employees are doing their work on their own. Then they are doing the work on their own. Now when I give these examples, don't pinpoint and understand it incorrectly, okay? I'm not here putting down the employees. There are very good employees also. There are very good managers also. So we have all these classes. I'm only trying to use a simile to give you an example. So if the manager is ineffective is powerless in the sense that doesn't have the power to control. Power means that doesn't exercise his power. He doesn't have the kind of ability or capability to manage employees, and employees are on their own. Then if you really look at the results at the end of the year, the results will always be in a disarray. It may or may not come, may come also if the employees are very good. But how long the employees will be good if the manager is ineffective? The same thing is happening inside us now. We can use that simile to understand us. Since our mind, most of ours mind is actually weak, doesn't have the power, or is lost in its own things, is completely lost in its own thoughts and all those things, own created thoughts and own kind of hallucination and fascination, so to say. So it does not work at all, does not, or you what you call that, lead the employees correctly. So what happens with the senses in the same example, these employees which are our senses, they go and interact and transact with anything and everything which are not even required for us, and at the end of the day, who is suffering? We. Just imagine they have to go and do collection. I'm just giving you an example of a collection team. They go and do collection, left, right, and center from people who are not, who are not even in the list of their collection, but they just to meet the target go and collect because manager is not paying attention at all. Then this team will be in deep trouble, because if people go and collect with wrong people, they will not spare you after a while, and you are losing customers. This is a customer centric industry these days, and all products and every service is customer centric. Customer is actually supposed to be served in that way. If you are earning from the customer, we should end up serving the customer also, no? So anyway, my point is, these senses, if they are left on their own and we think that they will control on their own, that is not possible. The control over senses is supposed to be exercised by the manager who is there, or the team leader who is there, which is called mind. And in case the makeup of the mind, or the capability of the mind, or the quality of the mind is good, in case it is good, then whatever transactions are done by these senses, it will be in a controlled fashion. Okay, that's the point I was trying to bring you with this particular example. Today, because this team leader is ineffective, I'll use this word that way, we have never trained our mind, so to say. Some days it works very well, some days it doesn't work at all, some days it has got perfect control over the employees, some days, a few days the employees are on their own. That's how our mind is working today. Then we cannot expect result to be good. But if the team leader or the mind or this manager called mind is powerful, its makeup is good, it's capable, it has got right amount of qualities, then the kind of control it will exercise on the employees will be good. I have myself in my corporate life, I've seen teams whose manager are very good. If a team works very good, definitely it speaks high about the employees' performance levels also, but it also speaks about the quality of a leader also. Because I have seen, so the leader, so will become the team. And many times I tell you one thing in here itself, through this podcast also I'll say, remember one thing, people never leave organization. Employees never leave an organization, especially good ones I'm talking about. Employees always leave a boss, always leave a leader. Companies, we cannot say that the company is good or bad. Companies are good or bad if their leaders are good or bad. That is how it should be seen as. And that is the role of a leader and a manager. I myself worked in that role, so I know how it works. So apparently, so if the makeup of the mind, the quality of the mind is good, then remember one thing, the control exercised over the senses will also be good. And these are the senses, or these are the employees who bring materials from outside. They are the one who does the procurement from outside. I do not know why I'm getting corporate examples today so much. Maybe, it's all the corporate memories actually coming to the foray. Not that I thought about it, but it's just coming in my mind. So apparently, these are the senses who will go and procure from outside. So there are two departments of these senses now. One is the procurement wing, Procurement wing means which will go and procure things from outside, which is object, people, relation, all those things it will procure from outside. Okay, and then there is another team which is going to act upon, which is a production team, which is called the Karmendriya, who will, using those things, act in the world. So procurement and production, and we can put it this way if you really want to think of a factory setup of a or a corporate setup. So apparently what I'm trying to say is the organs of knowledge, which is the procurement team within us, as the procurement the team of employees who are going to be engaged in the procurement process. In case mind has got the quality, in case the mind is capable, remember, it will exercise correct control on the senses on the procurement team also, not only control on the production team. Now remember, both the teams have to work in coordination. You cannot think that you will procure materials of an X object and using that procured material you will produce Y material. It cannot be. If you have to produce X material, you have to procure things which are required for producing the material X. You cannot think that you will procure something different and you will deliver or produce an end product which is completely different. It is not possible. So the end product you want, you have to procure accordingly, right? And this is the procurement team through using which the external things, I'm using the word things purposefully here, don't misunderstand the word at all. When I use some things, you understand the bigger construct of the word. Means what? When I put things, it involves worldly objects, people, relation, everything put together. Okay, you have to understand that these are the senses, or this is the team through which the external worldly things enter our office, enter our arena, enter our company's headquarters, enter our production area, from where they are they get into production and go out from there. Now I'll give you another example for you to see whether the food we intake, now I'm giving you a clear example of food here, whether the food we intake is nutritious in nature, is it pure, or whether vis-a-vis that it is completely destructive in nature, has no nutrient quality at all, is only going to destroy my inner equipment. And then what happens is, as far as it is there, I have not procured it, it is not going to give any impact to me. The moment it enters me, okay, whether it is nutrient rich in nutrient value, or it is pure in nature, or it's purely nutritious and also pure, or whether it is completely destructive and impure in nature, the moment it enters me, it is surely going to show its result. Now don't think that after entering I can control. No, you cannot. You can only control till the time it is outside. That is why Bhagwan is laying so much emphasis on why we need to control our organs of knowledge. Now, with the same example of using the same example of food we intake, if our food is mixed with poison, as long as the food mixed with poison is lying in the plate, not consumed by me yet, it is not going to show any effect on me. The moment that food from the plate enters my body, the food which is mixed with poison I'm talking about here, in this particular example, the moment it enters my body, it is definitely going to do harm to me. It is definitely going to harm my health. And as far as it is lying in the plate, it is not going to impact me. But the moment it enters my body, it reaches my stomach, it is definitely going to do harm to me. It is going to definitely do destruction for me. In the same way, this world is so huge, right? It is so huge, and there are so many things lying in the world. They are not going to harm me at all. as long as I do not decide to take them inside me. The bad result or the ill effect, it will start to show only once it enters my body, enters my inner equipment called antakarana. So the harm it will start to do, the ill effect it will start to show only when I have procured them using my organs of knowledge. Only when I consume them. When I say procurement, I mean when I consume them. As long as they are lying outside, it is immaterial, it's not going to show me any effect at all. The moment I consume it, it is definitely going to show me effect. I can give you umpteen examples using today's world. I'll give you few, may not touch all of them, because thinking of the time we have to cover verses also. But I will try to give you certain examples so that you can relate it to today's world. For consuming them or procuring them, in the example I was trying to give you, them means the worldly objects or the things which are lying outside. I have no other channel, no other source apart from my organs of knowledge. This you need to understand very clearly. Example, I'll give you another example, or I'll explain you a little bit more so that you understand. To consume or to procure or to intake this thing called form, the only channel or the only source of that is going to be our eyes. Eyes are the one through which we perceive forms outside. Which thing looks how, this, how are the things different from each other? What are the different colors? What are the different shapes? What are the different natures of people? How they act? All these things are seen in using our eyes. So, for procuring this thing called form, the only channel or the only source is going to be my eyes. In the same way, the world or worldly things and objects enter our inner thing or antakarana through the entry gates of these organs of knowledge. Organs of knowledge are the entry gates through which world enters us, and they have only one entry gate. There are five organs of knowledge, are five, but if I put them in one category, organs of knowledge are the only gateway for the world to enter us. In the fifth chapter, towards the end of fifth chapter, Bhagwan brings it out elaborately over there. Bhagwan in the end of fifth chapter says that, if we let the external objects remain outside only, if we let the external objects remain outside, in the fifth chapter 27th verse, Bhagwan says, Sparshan kritva bahirbahyans chakshus chaivantare bhruvoho. He says, is in the 27th verse, in the 28th verse, he says, Yatendriya manobuddhir munir moksha parayanaha vigatecha bhaya krodaha yas sada mukta evasa. So Bhagwan says, in case we are able to establish a control or establish a power in within ourselves, that we are able to ensure that external objects remain outside only, that we don't let external objects enter us at all, then in that case, you remember one thing, you will always be free. Our freedom goes, or we become bind, when the external objects start entering us and we start to, what do you call that, put our attachment to them one after another. Bhagwan is, has been saying about that quite loud and clear, that Bhagwan is very, very anti and he about attachment. He says is, one thing very clearly. Even for love also, I was talking to someone, so I was mentioning this example. Love, for the sake of love, will free you. but love filled with attachment will suffocate you. Think over it. So that is why Bhagwan again and again in every chapter, Bhagwan will not, lose this opportunity to talk about, the problems with attachment. Why Bhagwan again and again says, be free from attachment, be free from attachment. If Bhagwan, being Bhagwan, and himself the lord of this entire master of this entire universe, the lord of this entire universe, the owner creator of this entire universe, is again and again repeating some word. We must take the cue, we must take the clue also from there, that there is some reason why Bhagwan is again and again repeating, and we must pay attention to that. So Bhagwan in the end of fifth chapter says this: if somebody is able to ensure that the external objects remain outside only, then that person will ensure freedom for himself. When we engage with the world, the problem what happens is, we, without even carefully choosing, or without even carefully looking through it, we just left, right and center take in anything which comes on the way. That's very, very wrong. Everything is neither worth our attention, everything is neither worth our energy. We need to understand that. If we are able to ensure that only those things which belong to me are the only things which I keep inside me, okay, that also is a very great step towards development, towards ensuring growth of ourselves. Now, when a seeker starts to search for things, the seeker understands, and inside us actually there is nothing which has not come from outside. I'm talking about seeker. Why? Because seeker is the one who introspects. When a seeker starts to introspect, the seeker starts to understand, actually I'll see everything which is inside me has come from outside only. Just think over it. If one can carefully think over it and control what I choose outside, I don't need to engage with everything and everyone. And I've been in the last couple of podcasts, when I started speaking about the social service also, when I said that spiritual seeker or a spiritual master or a spiritual teacher is someone who chooses this thing very well. It doesn't engage with everyone at all. Everyone is not even worthy to be engaged with, is not even worth your time. Actually, to be very honest and frank, I'm telling you loud and clear, everyone is not worth your time and effort. Those who are worth your time and effort, they will get your time and effort, provided they are able to develop the right amount of faith in you, and are have the attitude of serving you. So here, it's when a seeker starts to introspect, seeker understands that there is nothing inside me which has not come from outside. Now, what does Bhagwan mean by this term called, controlling the organs of knowledge? Means what? We must, we should focus on this, that what we consume, we should consume carefully, that we are only consuming correct things. Okay, we are consuming only those things which does not prove, you know something which creates a health trouble for me, which does not prove to be creating disturbance inside me, which is not filled with impurity in itself. We should make sure that we only consume them. We should only procure fresh, good material and worthy material. There are so many things available in the world. I'm telling you, so many objects available in the world. Trust me, I'm telling you, you will see everything is not worth your energy, attention, and your money also, so to say. So we must take care that what we consume or what we intake is something which we have carefully chosen, that it does not create stress in me, it does not create disturbance in me. So I'll give you the same example, that in terms of food. Now, whatever we intake, if we are able to exercise the correct amount of control in them, that we intake correct thing, that is what is Bhagwan meaning here with the word called controlling your senses of knowledge, controlling the organs of knowledge. Okay, now the only thing is, who will ensure that what you consume is pure? The only one who is going to sit down and decide on that is going to be our mind. Now this is the role of mind. That is why in the BMI chart of Pujya Gurudev, the mind is a perceiver and feeler. So the role of mind is to perceive and feel, because the connection of our organs of knowledge and organs of action is through our mind. Our intellect has got a connection to the mind. Mind has got a connection to the body through these organs of knowledge and organs of action. We need to understand that. So mind is going to be the equipment which is going to exercise the control, because mind is going to decide what I am going to intake, what I am going to consume, what I am going to procure. Now this thing called taste, where does the taste reside? Where does the thought of taste or the sense of taste reside? It resides in the mind. Who decides, this food is tasty and I want it more? This food is not tasty at all, I don't even want to look at that particular food. Who decides that? That's the actually mind is the one who decides. There no which one is tasty and which mind is one who assigns taste and bad taste and good taste to things. Now whether something is good or bad, whether something is beneficial or destructive, who is going to make the decision of it? The decision of it is going to be made by the intellect. But whether I'm going to enjoy something or not, that will be decided by the mind. Now remember, these two classification you should remember. What is the role of intellect in BMI chart of Pujya Gurudev? Intellect is the thinker, is in the field of action for the intellect is thoughts. So the whether something is good or bad, whether something is beneficial or destructive for me, that decision is going to be made by the intellect. But whether am I going to enjoy something or not, that decision is going to be made by the mind. If the taste bud is very strong, now remember, if the taste I have associated it in my mind with the objects and things outside, if that taste is very strong and is strongly embedded in my mind, then remember, and today my intellect is not powerful to exercise complete control over my mind, then in that case, even if intellect continues to say no to some things, but remember, mind will still end up and extend itself or jump over it and consume or procure it. Remember, that is why Bhagwan has used the word here, and Bhagwan has used with a purpose. I told you in Bhagavad Gita, not even a single word has been used by Bhagwan without any deep purpose behind it. Since mind is going to be doing that, mind is going to be deciding, and depending upon what mind's and quality is, in terms of where my organs of knowledge are going to engage. That is why Bhagwan has said here in this particular verse, Indriyani means Jnanendriyani, Manasa Niyamya. You have to exercise control using your mind. See, I'm reading from the verse only. I'm not reading from somewhere else. So we have to follow the text also correctly. So that is one of the reason why Bhagwan has mentioned, and what Bhagwan has used as the word manasa is correct only here. It absolutely fits here, and this is the purpose why Bhagwan has used this particular word here, which means what? To have that control using the mind, we need to cultivate something called sadhana. spiritual practice in our life. We need to, practice or adopt something in life called penance, tap buddhi. We have to ensure we cultivate that. We also have to, time and on, using the intellect and mind together, time and on, test our control. Whether, and we should keep testing it. Don't think that one fine day it will come into you. You have to practice it. Practice control. You can start from small things, but you have to practice. Without practice it won't come, and that is why in life we need to cultivate this thing called sadhana, which is spiritual practice, tapa, which means penance, and sanyam, which means what? Control, satya, ahimsa. Satya means truthfulness in life. The point I see in this world is, forget about people being truthful to you. Many people are not even truthful to themselves. I don't know why. May they know some people are cheating themselves and they are doing nothing about it. And then ahimsa. Now remember, this thing is also very important. Ahimsa means moving away from what you call complete, moving away from actually violence, becoming completely violence free. There are things I know, with by looking at people, some people may not be engaged in committing external violence, but they are very violent within themselves. We can, when we meet people or when we speak to people, we understand these kind of personalities. So we need to exercise these things. And most important of all these things which one needs to cultivate is that we should definitely cultivate devotion and love for God. Now, that will come from only, this devotion and love for God will come only when we continuously or time and on listen to different leelas of Bhagwan. Leelas means different acts of Bhagwan when he incarnated into this particular world. Now, this word Leela, now this also I need to pick up now. Since I'm on that topic, I'll pick up now so that you understand that. Whenever Bhagwan incarnates in this world, there are two things which Bhagwan will show to us. Leela means his divine acts, that is called Leela, and then Charitra, how to act in the world. Now, remember, since I'm on this topic, I'm telling you, Bhagwan Ram, when he came here, he did both. He did Leela also, and he showed Charitra also. What he showed Leela? Now the Leela is that, when Bhagwan and Ram was born here, in the young age, as a child, he went and killed demons who were obstructing the, what you call that, sacrificial fire acts of rishis. He did that in a young age. Bhagwan Krishna, in the young age, as a very newborn child itself, literally sucked the, not only the poison, but the life out of this demonic woman called, Tarka, right? Putana, sorry, not Tarka, Putana. He really sucked the poison and the life out of this demonic woman called Putana. Now, that is a Leela. Leela means Leenati iti Leela. That which shows us the glory of Bhagwan. And through that glory of Bhagwan, we understand that he is far higher than us. That helps us in a great way to develop devotion for God. Remember, I told you in one of the podcasts also, devotion is always for the higher. We don't get devoted to our equal people. We don't get devoted, and I gave you the example which Puja Gurudev said. We can't say that I'm devoted to my wife. You can say you love your wife. Devotion is always for the higher. So to understand that Bhagwan is higher than us, he is not like us as human. Even though he seems to be in a human form, Bhagwan is not in a human. He seems to be in a human body, but he's not a human role. He's not doing a human act here. He's not born as us. Janmashtami just went by. Ganesh Chaturthi is just here now. That doesn't mean, even though we celebrate the birth of Bhagwan, but we are celebrating so that we can understand that he was one of us. But that doesn't mean that Bhagwan is born as one of us as we are born. No, it's not. Bhagwan appears and disappears. That is the Leela of Bhagwan. So, Leenati iti Leela means Leela as of Bhagwan, or the different divine acts of Bhagwan, divine things of Bhagwan, divine grace of Bhagwan. Like, I'm just giving you another example for you to know. Draupadi, when the Chir Haran was happening, she just surrendered to Bhagwan, and then Bhagwan decided to, do a Leela. So, and the cloth became Dushasan and got tired, but he could not take the cloth of Draupadi because Bhagwan decided to do that Leela. Now, why I say Leela and Charitra? Now, Leela, we cannot do those. We cannot enact those. So Leela is not for our enacting. Like a Putana example I gave. Bhagwan did it in the young age. Can we do it? No, don't even try doing that. It's not possible for us. Only a divine and appearance of Bhagwan or the supreme consciousness himself can do such acts. But those acts are done so that we can develop devotion in Bhagwan. That is the role of Leela of Bhagwan. Now, Charitra, Bhagwan Ram, what he did when he was sent to exile, he was not angry at Mother Kaikeyi. He was not, or he did not generate animosity for Bharat. He did not do that. He quickly walked away with love and with smile. That is Charitra. Imagine the Charitra of Bhagwan is he had so much love for his brothers, even though he was elder, but he still told Bharat, I am happy that you are the king. Those are the ones which we need to learn in our life and adapt in our life. Those are for us to live. Charitra Bhagwan does so that we can and walk on those paths and try to adapt them in our life and try to work on them and try to display them, try to act upon them in our life. But Leela is done by Bhagwan so that we can know the grace of Bhagwan, the presence of Bhagwan, and understand the difference. Even though he was amongst us here during the time when people were here, but he was not like us at all. He was far higher and different. He was supreme consciousness even when he was here doing the Leela as Bhagwan Krishna. Bhagwan Krishna is supreme consciousness himself. In fact, I'll tell you one more thing. I was wanting to do this in Janmashtami, but due to the scarcity of time or the shortage of time, I could not do it. One episode I definitely want to do, since we are doing Bhagavad Gita, one episode dedicated for Supreme Consciousness Bhagwan Krishna. And it may not be from, I may pick up some verses from Bhagavad Gita, but mostly I'll attach some things from Srimad Bhagavat, and that is purely going to be on Leela of Bhagwan. And this is the same thing. That is one of the reasons why I'm explaining you what Leela means actually. So, Charitra Bhagwan does what in when he incarnates as human, he does many acts which we can adapt in our life, which we can live up to in our particular life, which we can display in our life, which we can work upon in our life, which we can practice in our life. Charitra is for us to adopt in our life, but Leela is to generate love and devotion for God, to see God as higher and develop that devotion for God. That is what Leela is for. So, why I brought up that the biggest thing which helps us grow or polish our senses or ensure that mind is able to develop the capability or quality to control is actually the divine Leelas of Bhagwan. The more you hear through your ears, and that is what satsang is for. I'm going to come to that point also. Remember one thing, more than satsang means the spiritual talks I'm talking about here. So those are the people who do not understand the literal meaning of the word satsang. Sang means association. Sat means the truth, or truth means God. So, association of God are those people who help us through their talks, through their words, associate ourselves with God, associate ourselves with the eternal truth. That is what is coined with this term called satsang. So in real English term, I think I can translate as spiritual discourse. Now I'm using the word spiritual discourse. Spiritual discourse, you need to understand that. Remember one thing, more than spiritual discourse, there is nothing available in this creation which can help us purify our mind. There is nothing more greater than spiritual discourse which can purify our mind. And the biggest classy example I can give you is from Srimad Bhagavad of Naradji. Naradji, in one of the kalpas, was the son of a maid servant, was a Dasi Putra. Dasi Putra means his mother used to serve at used to work at different houses and serve different people. But what happened, once while serving, she got the opportunity to serve some saints, and Naradji was also with his mother. So in his childhood, Naradji got the opportunity to listen to a lot of the discourses from these saints, and see what the effect happened. By the time the kalpa ended, or the creation ended or went into pralay, Naradji had listened and developed so much in love and devotion for God that he wanted to leave everything and go. And by that time, pralay happened. And when he came back, imagine, from Dasi Putra, he became in the next creation as Dev Rishi Narad. Not only Devata Narada, Dev Rishi Narad, and was born as Brahmaji's son himself. Can you imagine the growth, the kind of vertical growth which Naradji has gained from a Dasi Putra in the next Kalpa itself? We didn't have to wait for many lives. In the next life itself, he became like Devrishi Narad. That is the power of Satsanga. So I'm telling you, mark my words, there is nothing greater than Satsanga or the spiritual discourse which can help us purify our mind, which can help us weed out the impurities of our mind. Satsang slowly, gradually plucks out or weeds out the impurities of our mind. Satsang is, or spiritual discourse, is a great thing for purification of mind. Now, as I mentioned in the last session, Puja Gurudev used to say that there are only three things which will, if we continuously work upon, will help us improve our mind. What? One is the quality of thought, second is the quantity of thought, and the third is the direction of the thought. This is where I left the last session, if you remember, and I told all of you, once the session, once you completed listening to that session, do spend some time reflecting upon it and thinking over it and translating it to your own life. We all must put efforts in this direction. We should work upon improving the quality of our thoughts. We must make them good. We must make the quality of the thoughts good. We should work upon that. We also should work upon reducing the quantity of our thoughts. More thoughts means what? Mind is continuously engaged, and a continuously engaged mind loses its capability, loses its power to perform well. Less number of thoughts actually improves the performance of the mind. There are people who I meet, they say, it's so difficult, I'm so forgetful. You are forgetful why your mind is always cluttered with thoughts, and many of them may be useless only. If you really think or introspect in this direction, you will see that many thoughts which actually they are continuously in my mind are actually redundant in nature. They are not even required. So we must work towards reducing the number of thoughts or the quantity of thoughts. And the last portion which Puja Gurudev said is very important. We must work towards improving the direction of our thoughts. I must have told you in one of the podcasts, there are many things which are available on the social media. There are many news channels available. There are many things happening around the world. Trust me, all of them are not important for me to know. All of them are not important for me to get into. Everything doesn't need my attention. I need to be aware. but I don't need to, indulge in things like that. Being aware of things protects you, but indulgence in things actually binds you. That is what is very important for us to know. So we need to remember, how will these things we work upon: the quality of thoughts, quantity of thoughts, and direction of thoughts. As I just mentioned, the most important and the best thing for that is satsang. Satsang is the one which is going to help us do all these three things, work upon all these three things: quality, quantity, and direction. And the other thing, apart from satsang, which will help is, which also emanates from satsang, is called swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means whatever you have listened in satsang, sit down and think over it, reflect upon it. Swadhyaya means reflecting upon what you have heard. Don't just, I have listened to 6,000 satsangs, but I have not moved an inch. What use is that satsang? Because you listen to satsang, there are texts taken in satsang, and after the satsang is over, the text is closed. It will only come out, and I'll dust it only when the same text is taken by somebody else somewhere. I've seen people who they say, I've been listening to satsang for 20 years, but they are where they are because they've listened to satsang and just, closed the book and kept it in the trunk to be lifted only when it will come up the next time it will come up. I have seen people doing that, but that is not going to help you. Along with satsang, the another thing we must take up is called swadhyay. I have said in the podcast, so many topics I've taken up. I keep telling people, when there is a delay in episode, re-listen to the ones you have already, re-listen to the episodes you have already heard to gain more clarity. Don't just listen and walk away. There are people who come to me and say that, I have finished Bhagavad Gita. I, fold my hand and say, God help you, please don't finish Bhagavad Gita. It is better that you completely read it or listen it, but don't finish it. Finish means what? You see the usage of word itself. I finished Gita. Finish Gita for who? For yourself. Don't finish Gita. Understand Bhagavad Gita. That is why I told you in this podcast, I'm in no hurry to complete the Bhagavad Gita's all chapters, but I'm definitely making effort that we go slow, and but we cover as much as possible. That is more important. Many people must have completed Bhagavad Gita at so many places, may be available for you also, but that's not my endeavor at all. My endeavor is that whatever Bhagwan has said, we must sit down coolly, quietly, understand the depth of it the way we should understand. Bhagwan's word is not to be just heard and walked away. We are not sitting that I have to just complete this. Even in Arjun, so to say, let me just bring that example. Arjun was not in a hurry to finish the teachings. He didn't say even one place, Bhagwan, say it fast, there is an army waiting on the other side. He never said that. Just listen. And Arjun, through the entire Bhagavad Gita, so much attention Arjun has on the topic that he asks questions aptly related to the topic which Bhagwan is taking up. What a brilliant kind of an attention. Had we been there in Arjun's place, we may not be focusing on Bhagwan's teaching only. Our eyes may be on the next army. I hope somebody is not picking up the bow and arrow to shoot me down, since I am engaged in, lecture before the kind of war and all those things. See, that is the problem with us. We have lack of focus, lack of attention. Our interest is always dispersed or disseminated into so many directions. So that is what we mean here. Two things which becomes extremely important is, first is satsang or spiritual discourse, and the next is spend time reflecting upon what you have listened to. Don't just listen, close the book and walk away. There are many people, there are many jokes I can make about that. There are people who, when we come back from camps and all, when I used to go to camps and all, and used to come back from my Guruji's camp, people used to ask me question. They won't ask me how the camp was. Two things most of the people ask. First thing is, how comfortable was the stay there? That's the first question. The second question is, was the food good? See the kind of focus people have. See the kind of interest people have. Their interest is in the how what kind of luxury we have to stay, and what kind of food we got. What we got as a knowledge, it is nothing, nobody's attention also there. So that is the thing. That's why we become laughing stock at many places. So here he says that satsang and swadhyay means spiritual discourse, listening to spiritual discourse and reflecting upon what we have listened becomes very important factor to help us improve the quality of thoughts, or reduce the quantity of thoughts, and correct the direction of thoughts. Now remember one thing, if our mind is quiet, that means what? Less number of thoughts will arise in the mind. When the mind is disturbed, what do you mean by the mind is disturbed? Mind is disturbed means mind is overloaded with thoughts. Mind is quiet means mind is free from thoughts. When less number of thoughts are there, because of which our mind is quiet. If the thoughts inside our mind, or the thoughts in our mind, are good thoughts, definitely it will help us become quiet in nature. It will help gain quietude of mind, so to say. If the quality of thoughts of the mind is good, remember one thing, that time such thing is possible only if we have cultivated good culture, we have cultivated good habits, we have cultivated good interests, we have cultivated good nature in us. We are humble in our nature. We are good, well mannered. We have good habits. We have cultivated good and brilliant culture. If we have cultivated them, with a mind which has cultivated such things, is the one which become the tool to establish control on the organs of knowledge, and through such a mind we must exercise control over the organs of knowledge. Then, which means what? We will ensure that whatever our intake we do, whatever food we intake, means not the food, physical food I'm talking about, we are actually, all that we take from all the five organs of knowledge, we should classify them as food only. And I have told you in the verse when I said in the last chapter, where when Bhagwan spoke about, Vrata, where I elaborately spoke about the fast we call about in Sanatan culture, I spoke to you about that at that point in time. Which was that verse in chapter 2 I picked up? I think verse number 59. विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोप्यस्य param दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. When I was talking about nirahar there, I said nirahar, we should not take the word nirahar of Bhagwan over there as only talking about the food we consume. Whatever we consume or whatever we procure from all the five organs of knowledge are classified as food. Remember, when I use that word Vishya Vinivartante Niraharasya, I said at that place also, that whatever we consume from our five organs, they are all classified as food. So what should we do? By establishing control with such a cultured mind, such a well-cultured mind, well-mannered mind, a pure mind, a well-natured mind, we should establishing control over the senses, organs of knowledge. We should ensure that whatever we consume, whatever food we consume through the five organs of knowledge is pure only. Remember, we should be consuming pure food. Whatever we consume, it is sattvic in nature. Now, on that front, I will say one more thing to you in this session itself. The physical food I'm talking about, the food we eat. Now here I'm talking about, but the one I use for all the five organs is whatever food we consume. But when I say food we eat, that's the physical food we eat I'm talking about, the vegetables and veg, non-veg and other things we eat. That is what I'm talking about. So here we need to understand, if what we consume, whatever food we consume is pure in nature, is sattvic in nature, that is what will help keep our body Body healthy, hale and hearty, free from diseases. Remember that, huh? Now, here I must say there is one discussion on this. I would want to take this discussion some other time, but I'll just pick it up because we are on that topic right now here. We need to understand there are a lot of things which are spoken about outside that, about the good nutrient value of non-veg food. Now, one big thing which these people who proponent this nutritious value of non-veg food, they miss out is about one element of non-veg food. Now, what is that one element of non-veg food which is present in every non-veg food, non-vegetarian food, is that it is filled with cruelty. It is impure in nature. Why? Because creating fear in someone, creating the fear of death in someone, fear of getting killed, inflicting pain on someone, you have cultivated that food. And now, if you think by consuming such a food, you are not going to consume the aspects of cruelty and impurity, you are highly mistaken. So, if you think they are filled with nutrition, I must tell you in this forum here that they are filled with impurities which are definitely going to cause mental illness to you. That is what I meant here. They are going to create mental illness because it is filled with impurity, it is filled with cruelty, it is filled with inflicting pain on others. You cannot think that consuming such food you will gain or cultivate a mind which will always remain happy, which will always remain quiet. No, not possible at all. Remember one thing, food, one aspect which science talks about is food digests and splits into different nutrient things and splits into the body. But one big thing which science misses out is the subtle aspect of the food actually becomes our mind. Now, in this food, the subtle aspect of the food is cruelty, impurity, fear created in others, and infliction of pain on others. Such kind of a thing, what kind of health effects it will have on your mind, you can sit down and think on it yourself. Since the topic is going on, I picked it up here. So if the mind focuses that it consumes pure food and sattvic food, then only the mind will be able to ensure that it is able to create or work towards maintaining good health and free from all kind of diseases. In the same way, all the whatever is consumed from all the other senses, we must ensure that it is pure in nature, it is good and sattvic in nature, so that our mind also remains hale and hearty, healthy, and always full of energy, never dull at all. And for this, the biggest and the most important factor which helps this is actually going to be spiritual discourses, and how we use those spiritual discourses and to reflect upon what has been heard from these discourses. Now, from these, what can we do about the organs of action? Let's see that aspect also now. What should we do with these organs of action? Now, Bhagwan spoke, and in the first half of the verse, Bhagwan spoke about the organs of knowledge. In the second half of the verse, Bhagwan is talking about what to do with the organs of action. That's why he said, Karmendriyaihi karma yogam asaktaha karma yogam saha vishishyate. The one who's able to do it is actually a person with special status. Now, how should we translate this into, the organs of action, and what should we do with the organs of action? Now, for that, we need to understand our mind is coming along with culture and nature cultivated from time immemorial, since the time it has been in this creation. Many lives we have lived. It is coming with a baggage of vasanas, life after life. It is also coming with a thought embedded in it of what? Or that I am a doer and enjoyer. That thing is also embedded in us. Now, our bodily needs are also necessary if or the necessity of bodily needs also arises in our intellect. In our intellect arises a thought that this is also required for my body, like food is required to maintain my body, right. That is definitely a thought which arises in my intellect. It keeps on arising in my intellect. And, because all the jivas, we jivas as manushya jiva, we are all with an important faculty called intellect. Now intellect is a very important faculty in this what you call that creed called human race. It's a very important faculty. Now since it is an important faculty, and we are what you call that intellectually inclined people, so what happens that even if there is something which is a requirement of me, maybe 10 years down the line, intellect starts to bring out. Now, like, I'm just giving you an example. A student getting into fifth class, if the student is well focused and has got a goal in mind, and starts to decide, I want to become an engineer. Now he is just in fifth class, and engineering comes after 12th class. There are 7 more years to go. But the child, if he's focused child, he starts to plan out to, because I have to reach there, I will start working now itself. I've seen in focused kids also, and very mannered kids also that way, huh? Very well intellectually built up kids also I've seen, by the way. So whatever it comes up, so since we are intellectually inclined kind of a jiva, so our intellect keeps on throwing things which may be required by us as few years down the line, maybe 10 years down the line, they keep sprouting in our intellect. And that is an important part and facet of human being only. There are human beings who are so much engrossed in their day-to-day life that they don't even have that. I'm not talking about that. But a man who is focused well, has got a goal in life, uh, this will be a good property in all those people who have focus and who have goal in life. Now we are not animals. Now see the beauty of the word coined in Sanskrit. For animals, the word coined in Sanskrit is pashu. Pashu, the etymology of pashu comes out with the word pashyati iti pashu. Means what? For an animal, whatever is seen in front of the animal is everything. Animal cannot think ahead, cannot go beyond what is seen or what is perceived, so to say. But humans have this faculty called intellect, which can not only see and understand, but can using those things can think ahead and project ahead also. That is the quality of mind. That's a good quality of mind. Bhagwan says, for those kind of organs of that is the reason why I have given this faculty called karmendriya, the organs of action, so that you can, using the knowledge gained from the organs of knowledge, you can perform actions in the world. And for the topic of karma yoga, Bhagwan says karma yogam na. For the topic of karma yoga, the area of control will be what? Karmendriya, the organs of action. Where will you exercise? What control will you exercise on your organs of action? The control you will exercise on the organs of action, or the control which we all should work towards exercising on our organs of action, is what is Bhagwan calling here as karma yogam. Okay, that is what we need to understand from this particular verse of Bhagwan. So how should we translate this verse of Bhagwan? Bhagwan says, for doing karma yoga, you do not need to exercise control over organs of action, rather you need to use them to perform your action. Exercising control, Bhagwan said the area for you to exercise control is on the organs of knowledge. But when it comes to the organs of action, you are not supposed to control them. You are supposed to put them into action and perform action. And just see from the verse which Bhagwan said earlier, when Bhagwan was talking about mithyachari and vimudhatma, here that person, what is the mistake that person was doing? The person was exercising control over the organs of action, but using the mind was thinking about the worldly objects. Bhagwan says the organs of no action are not for exercising control. For exercising control, the organs of knowledge are there. With the organs of action, you must act. But how you should act? For that, you must do karma yoga. So according to the context which Bhagwan is using here, the 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 area of control, the prime area of control is going to be the organs of knowledge, whereas the organs of action are given to us to perform, to act in the world, not to stop our performance. So earlier verse, in the sixth verse, the person was stopping action at the level of organs of action and thinking over the objects using the mind. Bhagwan says, no, use your mind to exercise control on the organs of knowledge and use your organs of action to act and perform in the world. Don't stop them from performing. Don't block them from performance. But what you have to do using your organs of action, not only action, you should start doing karma yoga using your organs of action. When and here is, as I mentioned, Bhagwan used the word karma yoga for the first time. In the second chapter, he only indicated karma yoga, but he did not use that word. So this word is not new here. It is this word is only new. Sorry, the topic is not new here. Topic is what Bhagwan has already spoken about in the previous chapter already. Samatvam yoga uchyate, yogastha kuru karmani. Bhagwan already said that there. There he did not use the word specifically karma yoga. The word karma yoga Bhagwan is using here for the first time. Actually, Bhagwan is giving term to that word, a term to that topic here for the first time, that call it karma yoga. And that is why this chapter is also named karma yoga. The karma yoga word is used here only. So Bhagwan says is that using the organs of action, get set out into the world of action, but don't just act, do karma yoga. So as explained as already indicated in the previous chapter, I've already spoke about, and he said samatvam yoga uchyate and yogastha kuru karmani. Now here Bhagwan is saying that do the action. How should we do the action? Bhagwan is giving that technique itself. Bhagwan says, hey Arjun, Sambodhana Pratima is Arjun here. Hey Arjun, you are a valored person. You are so valorous, as you know the art of acting in the world very well. You have mastered the art of warfare. You have mastery over many actions, so to say. So Arjun, now I am guiding you. You should start doing karma yoga from here on. Start working upon karma yoga, and at the core of karma yoga, what Bhagwan has placed at the core of karma yoga, Bhagwan has used the word asaktaha, free from all kinds of attachment. Now here is what I want to say here before I complete the session for today. Karma yoga cannot be started without being free from attachment. Now, okay, let me put it in a different way. Karma yoga can only be started by a person only when that person has developed devotion and love for God, for which I already explained Leela and Charitra in the earlier part of this session. Now, when we devote our actions, when we surrender our actions, when we offer our actions to Bhagwan, That is what becomes Karma Yoga. Now, for offering our actions at the lotus feet of Bhagwan is not possible without having devotion for Bhagwan, without having love for Bhagwan, without having love and devotion for the Supreme Consciousness or Bhagwan or the Lord. Now, we need to understand there are four kind of thoughts which become supportive for this particular thing. The first thing I'm talking about is Shraddha, which is faith. The second thing which is helpful is respect. The third thing which is a thought which is on the same category is love. And the fourth thing is devotion or surrender or the attitude of serving. Right? These four things, even though they sound as four different things, but they are thoughts of the same category. Okay? These are the four things which have got the quality in them to give you the capability to surrender to Bhagwan, to offer your work to Bhagwan. If any of these things is missing, we cannot do Karma Yoga. We cannot offer our actions to Bhagwan. Not possible at all. Remember, these are the facilitating factors. These four are the facilitating factors for doing Karma Yoga. Wherever these four things are missing or any one of these four things are missing, remember that person will not have the power, will not have the capability to get to service attitude, will not be able to serve God at all, will not be able to, there is no facilitating factor present in that person to get him to do Karma Yoga. To do Karma Yoga for him. It was not possible at all. And remember, devoting our actions to Bhagwan is what is at the core of Karma Yoga. So in Karma Yoga, we have to devote our actions to Bhagwan, and that devotion is only possible if we have love towards Bhagwan, if we have faith in Bhagwan, and if we have faith, love, and respect for Bhagwan. Those who you do not respect, who you do not have faith towards, who you do not have love towards, you cannot who you do not have devotion towards, you cannot offer your work to them at their lotus feet. That is why love towards Bhagwan, these four things, faith, love, respect, and the attitude of service and devotion, is what is going to establish your connection with Bhagwan, establish your relationship with Bhagwan. And how will you establish this relationship with Bhagwan? For that, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, in his rendering called Upadesh Sar, a text called Upadesh Sar, which has been given by Bhagwan, which has been created by Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. In the fourth verse of Upadesh Sar, Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi says, Kaya Vangmana Karyamuttamam Pujanam Japas Chintanam Kramat. He says, Kaya, Vang, Mana. Kaya means body, Vang means through our words, Mana means through our mind. If we want to do with these three faculties, Karyam Uttamam, to do good actions, to do evolving actions for us, then in the order, what we need to, in the correct order, we need to understand these are the three things which will help and facilitate us to do that. With Kaya, Pujanam, offering puja to Bhagwan. Okay, with Kaya means to body. Through our Vang, which is our words, Japa, and through our mind, Chintanam, thinking of Leelas of Bhagwan. So on this thought, on this point, I will complete the session for today. Rest we'll see the remaining portion of this in the next session, and then we'll move to the next verse. And since it is Ganesh Chaturthi going on, I'll offer one line of prayer to Bhagwan Ganesha before I complete this session today. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम तत्सत्।